Today we're going to be looking at a quad DTE based build of the new Terapagos EX. That means the archetype is focused around its first attack, the Unified Beatdown, which has 30 times the number of your benched Pokemon. With an Area 0 Underdepths stadium in play, we can have up to 8 bench Pokemon, meaning our maximum damage output with Terapagos in this list will be 220 after taking into consideration the minus 20 damage from Turbo Energy. That means we're capable of dealing with a number of basic V and EXs in one hit, but are often looking to two-shot the chunkier stuff in format. And we're actually pretty comfortable two-shotting with the majority of the meta because we have Bouffalant in the deck with its Curly Wall ability, making our own Terapagos very tanky. With 2 Bouffalant in play, the Terapagos is effectively 190 hit points, and you'll notice there's a Bravery Charm as well as the A-Spec Survival Brace in the deck list, as well as 2 copies of Penny. So we're looking to be a 2-hit KO deck and weaving in our own Penny as healing. One of the big boasts of a Terapagos archetype is going to be the Fan Rotom in the deck with its Fan Call ability, allowing us to search for 3 colourless Pokemon with 100 hit points or less and put them into the hand. That means that not only can we get some nice basics like Bidoof and Hoothoot, we can also stash a Noctowl in hand for turn 2 of the game to pop off with its Jewel Seeker ability. As long as there's a Terra Pokemon in play, Noctowl can search for any 2 trainer cards, and that's why you see such low counts of various different supporters in the deck list, because Noctowl can cherry pick the right ones for the right situation. I'm also incorporating a Bibarel package in the list as well, just keeping us nicely topped up on cards as we go, and giving us a bit of a safeguard around some hand disruption. The idea around this list is to not give up easy prizes at any point in the game, so we have a fully single prize bench with just very chunky Terapagos for the opponent to get through. You'll notice there's also 2 copies of Countercatcher and the Briar supporter in the list as well, so when the opponent has gone down to 2 prize cards, we can use this effect to take a 3 prize swing back in our favour. Because of the versatility of Fan Rotom, we could definitely start considering some other colourless Pokemon that could work their way into the deck list. If we want to lean more heavily into Industrious Incisors, we could have a Nest Stash Squover in the list, allowing us to cycle more constantly throughout the game. But if we want to dream bigger, we could actually incorporate a Finn Pidgeot EX package as well. Fan Rotom could get Hoothoot as well as Pidgey, and that first Jewel Seeker could help us get something like a Featherball plus Rare Candy combination to establish our first Pidgeot EX. Also, just weaving in a couple more multi-prizes wouldn't be the worst thing. Having Luminion in the deck just for extra Ultra Ball outs for some of our low counts of supporters, or a Pheasantipity EX could also make its way into the list just for, again, a little bit more reach in certain turns. Conceptually, when I was first building the list, I wanted to create the most difficult prize map possible for an opponent, but there could easily be some multi-prizes making their way into the 60. Speaking of which, Blood Moon Ursaluna could be just another attacking presence we have access to. There will be a number of archetypes that try and contest that stadium, meaning we have to constantly discard a number of our Pokemon and reload them, but having that Blood Moon attack later on in the game could be really helpful, and of course the Bouffalant can still make the Blood Moon Ursaluna even more tanky, so it could once again pair nicely with Penny. A very neat combo you may have seen with other builds of Terapagos has been a mini Dusknoir package coming into the deck. It can certainly help Terapagos reach on certain Pokemon, and you can even use the likes of Dusknoir to activate your Countercatchers and even the Briar supporter in certain situations. The deck list in front of you has a Roesanne's backup, and that's because there are a number of decks right now that run a number of Crushing Hammers and other energy removal, and I wanted to have that bit more security of an extra attachment, but you could also think about a Jet Energy coming into the deck list as well. It's an extra switch out, and it can even be used for Fan Rotom to get some early 70 damage pokes in, so if you come up against evolving decks or something like Comfey or whatever, you can initiate a prize race without putting a Terapagos in harm's way. Let me know your thoughts on DTE Terapagos. Is it going to be better or worse than a Trumpet build with a number of basic energy? And what do you think the best colourless engine Pokemon are going to be alongside the Noctowl? I'll hear it all down below, but for now, enjoy the games. If you're looking for PTCG live codes, make sure you check out the Potown store. You can get a 5% discount on your orders using that code, OmniPoke. So getting into our first game then, I'm going to be on the left playing the DTE Terapagos deck. Jack is on the right and he's going to be playing Regidrago V-Star. He gets to go first. Has an energy drop of fire onto his Regidrago. Not much else outside of a V-Star in hand for turn 2 though. So he's just going to pass things there with an attachment. Not the speediest start, but at least he's got energy, which is still at the end of the day one of the most important things for the Regidrago. And I have a Nest Ball to kick us off. I can Fan Call with Fan Rotom. And that's one of the best things about this new colourless engine is that it only takes 1 Ball Search for you to really pop off and have a lot for the immediate future in terms of double Hoothoot, and I'm also grabbing a Noctowl for turn 2. I'm pretty sure I'm holding on to a Terapagos EX as well. So that's looking like a really good turn 1. I'm also going to put the Terapagos down and put double Turbo on, just because Jack didn't have the fastest of starts. So we can pass it over quite nicely there. And one of the best things about this deck in terms of all the evolutions, is that they have 70 hit points. So if Jack wants to take a 2-prize knockout this turn with Regidrago copying Dragapult, for example, he would have to also get Hawlucha, which is going to be a mission. Jack did top deck Teal Mask Ogerpon, which really makes this hand a little bit better. He can weave in a quick Teal Dance into an E-Switch pre-V-Star power. But we see a pretty poor V-Star power there. You can see Jack's not too happy with it. No good dragons to really copy here. He could obviously attack with Regidrago V to deal with the Bouffalant. Grabbing Mew EX perhaps and draw 1 from his hand. He could play Cologne, play Switch, grab Mew EX and draw 1. He'd have to commit the Prime Catcher as well, which wouldn't be ideal. But I think that's what he has to do, just hope to find Vessel or Grass Energy. He has a manual attachment, but it's fire, so it doesn't help the Regi in this case. Yeah, that was a pretty bad Legacy Star, unfortunately. All he needed to see was Grass Energy. So, yeah, not ideal. Let's see it then. He's actually going to commit the turn attachment, which allows him to draw 1 more card to get out of a brick. Oh, I see. It's so that he gets to hold Prime Catcher for a following turn. Okay. I suppose that's kind of reasonable. He's then going to retreat the Mew into the Drago. Looks like he's just going to have to pass here. Pretty unfortunate for a turn 2 there. As I am able to use Noctowl here on turn 2. And I can grab any 2 trainers out of my deck. And a Colress Tenacity looks to be one of the first things I'm thinking about here. Can get me a double turbo to retreat this Bouffalant, as well as a Stadium. And that would just be one of my choices. And the second choice might be that Survival Brace that I'm looking at. No, just going to be a Nest Ball for now. The Colress can get me Stadium plus double turbo. The Nest Ball would allow me to get either another Terapagos out. Yeah, and that's going to be the first priority. That's really because if Jack is able to score KOs on Terapagos, you want to have like a backup established. But it looks like I'm also going to be using the second Noctowl here anyway, and get a Poffin in as well. That means I could get Manaphy down possibly if I wanted to. Definitely want to think about getting a second Bouffalant onto the board as well, because that pushes the Terapagos up to 290, and that's really annoying for Jack to deal with. Going to be a Chorus to hand, and then we're just going to fill the bench with the Poffin instead. Looking back, possibly weaving in a Bouffalant is stronger here. Maybe again, this is just capitalizing on the fact that Jack doesn't have many dragons in the bin right now, and that he's so like behind on attachments and whatnot that he can't really, even if he does do a Giratina attack, it's going to just be more painful for him, I suppose is the logic there. And then Manaphy is trying to block the only real good play you could have with a like Kyurem swing turn. Looks like I'm holding on to Ultra Ball for next turn as well, so I have options for Bibarel or for Noctowl, so that's looking pretty reasonable. Jack picked up Boss, which really isn't a good draw for him either. Looks like he's going to have to get a Mew draw in again here to get anything done. He's going to bring up a Hoothoot. Goes into Ogerpon, so you can E-switch to minus another one from hand. Just to see one card, it's Ultra Ball. And that's not actually helpful. The only real draw you get from one Ultra Ball would be Fez, but that requires me to have taken a KO. Looks like he is going to go for it, though, just so that he can improve his top decks, perhaps. Just going to grab an Ogerpon. Nope. Possibly the Fez. Or is that prized as well? Oh, man. Just goes for the Regidrago V. Looks like, obviously with the damaged Drago, he has to probably go V here, just to be safe in case of a Gust. But this has been pretty poor from Jack so far. Pretty poor opening from the Regi. I'm able to Ultra Ball away Briar and Bouffalant and establish Bibarel now. So I'm going to be a lot safer as I start taking some prizes probably this turn. Either into the active or KOing the V-Star. We can draw 3 with the Bibarel. That does get me DT Boss, I think. So I can retreat the Hoothoot and boss up. Oh, it looks like we're actually going for the Roesanne's backup here just to get more energy back. I'm just saying that 2 prizes is 2 prizes. I have paid retreat out of 2 double turbo energy. So So we will just pass things up to Jack, who does pick up Iono, so he's not out the game. He could Mew for 2. He's going to start there. Does that change much? Hawlucha is interesting. Could let him pressurize things like Manaphy. Obviously, he has Terrestrial Pokemon as well, so he can go very wide on his own bench here. We are going to see the Iono. And we finally see some vessels. We can get rid of some dragons and get some energy into the mix. Pretty sure there's one there. I think Jack is just worried that the fact that there's so many E-Switch already gone. And, yeah, it looks like he's going to concede from here. He's just so many E-Switch down that his one V-Star will get KO'd, and then he's just, like, in a really bad spot. So, yeah, you can see why Jack picked it up. It was a pretty bad opener for him. But it just shows the consistency of Terapagos there, that all 70 hit point Pokemon forced a little bit more from him. Obviously, he was nowhere near, but still, we're going to get into another game here. And Jack's going to get, again, not the best of starts. He has the Ogerpon and he has a Radiant Charizard attachment. And I, once again, have the Fan call from Rotom. So we can get some basics and stage 1s developed. The fact that I'm getting double Noctowl means I probably have some Hoothoot in the hand. Or maybe we're going to need to discard one of these Noctowl. No, we're going to get a Counter Catcher and Bravery Charm. And grab that Terapagos. And we have a turn 1 Tenacity, so we can get Energy Stadium. This really is a nice supporter to weave into the deck. Gets 2 of your most critical 4-of cards, as we eventually do bench down all of our basics. And we can just pass things back over to Jack now, with a pretty reasonable turn 1. Let's see, Jack's able to just research away a couple of those dragons, gets rid of a switch in the process. Was that a nest ball in there? I hope so. So he can actually develop a... Yeah, he can develop a basic V here. I think there was Vessel in the hand as well, so he can get some energy flowing, start using Teal Dance. There's the Regidrago. Throw away, looks like one of the Iono. He has both in hand, so I'm going to toss one of those away. Grab a couple of the grass. I definitely like attaching grass for the turn onto the Regidrago V here, as well as Teal Dancing active. Spread your threats as much as possible. It means that that E-Switch could be live next turn, like off the Radzard onto the V-Star, but also like vice versa. If the V is KO'd, you can get towards the Charizard to deal a decent chunk into Terapagos. So let's see the 1 draw from Terapagos. Gets Jack another 1. He's going to go again onto Ogerpon. Does find another energy, which works out pretty nicely, actually. He can attach now to the Regidrago. Proactively uses E-Switch. Not too sure about this one. It means he gets a little bit more punished by me gusting on turn 2. Yeah, it looks like he's just going to hold on to the E-Switch for now. I definitely think you want to hold on to this, right? Because it means he can weave in Radzard next turn if I am taking a 2-prize KO. And then it just forces so much more from me. And you don't want to commit 2 energy to the V just because it can get gusted. Looks like he's going to throw down the Temple of Sinnoh. Can be frustrating for me, but I do have the Area 0 in hand. And I did search that with Colress last turn, so I'm not too sure about throwing the Sinnoh down either, the timing of that. I am able to attach Double Turbo just to retreat this Fan Rotom again. And we're going to start going wide on the bench now that we have the Underdepths down with our first dual hunt. That's going to get, once again, Manaphy developed as well as a second Bidoof. And the second Noctowl now can allow me to boss. I'm at 190 right now, so I'd have to get boss plus Nest Ball and get an extra basic. Yeah, looks like that's also going to be on the agenda here. Or we could, yeah, instead of gusting, we could just take the 2 prizes with Nest Ball Survival Brace. And that means we're having to go for the Ogerpon instead of the Regi, but we know that the first Terapagos is tanking, unless Jack is going to retreat it. And then we can research. So, yeah, pretty good stuff. We develop Bibarel now as well. 3 stage 1s online, mostly in parts thanks to the Fan Rotom, of course, but... Wow, the deck really is flowing quite nicely. We can take those first 2 prizes, and with the Survival Brace, this is going to be a difficult task for Jack to take. The knockout, of course, he can gust up the bench Terapagos, but even then, 230 hit points is a bit of an obstacle. If he uses something like a Dragapult attack this turn, that might be one of his best case scenarios. Jack is going to Iono. Oh, is he going to... Yeah, I think he should definitely do the stretcher thing first. Then Iono. Gets the fresh 6, puts me down to 4. He does find Ultra Ball. He has the Fez 3 draws as well. Should be able to get towards a V-Star attack here. Has more Ogre in hand. Obviously, he can go all the way to 8 bench as well. We do see the Regidrago V-Star actually naturally in hand. And then it's going to nest out another one, perhaps. Another basic V. Yep. Is he just thinking about turn attachment active here? Save the E-switches. Must be right. It's going to be the draw 1. Then he's going to go again. Then he's going to still spend an E-switch. And looks like the best thing he can do is Rolling Iron here. So he's just going to deal the 200. And Survival Brace isn't discarded if I don't go down to 10 hit points remaining. So I get to hold it into hand. And that means that I can use a penny here and still keep the brace around, which is a huge problem. I buy the free turn back from Jack, really. I have 2 Bibarel now set up as well. And we're quite content just swinging into the Regidrago for 220. The maximum damage of a Terapagos. Well, a DTE-based build anyway. So the A-Spec is being a bit of a headache for Jack to get around right now. Oftentimes the Terapagos can sit out of range of Drago anyway with the use of double Bouffalants, but right now the board is clogged up with other stuff. Plenty of engine mons. Jack's going to get some Teal Dancers in thanks to a Vessel, then attached to the Drago V on the bench. Gets to work on that. We're going to see some E-Switch shenanigans. Looks like he has an Ultra Ball Research combo. Maybe he can finally get rid of a Dragapult EX. Because he definitely wants to start putting some counters on other stuff here. We just realised that Jack Rolling Iron last turn, so fix the damage there a little bit. It actually really doesn't matter because as long as I get to keep the full bench, the 140 is still the 2-shot. Jack's able to Vessel away Giratina V-Star now. Gets another grass out the deck. And he's going to Teal Dance. So let's see where he wants to put these 6 counters. He has to get a little bit creative here. I think, I definitely like some on the Terapagos on the bench. And I also like prepping some of these 70 hit points mons down to 60. Seems like a pretty good way to spend that damage. Putting one on a Bibarel can set up a Kyurem attack later. Don't forget. So if he does at some point deal with Manaphy, he could then like swoop up a bunch of prizes all in one go. I'm going to play a boss here, bring up the Regidrago V on the bench, and then just go down to 2 prize cards. With this play, Jack does have an opportunity to take a 4 prize turn with Gust onto the other Terapagos EX, but my hand didn't really allow me to have any Bibarel draw. I was just clogged up with stuff. So what I've tried to do here is say, if Jack is going to use Regidrago to take a 4 prize turn, I don't need Gust to close the game. I would just have to rebuild a bunch of basics and a Terapagos and a DTE. Still a decent amount of stuff to do, but we do see Jack use the V-Star here. Obviously, Iono is going to be one of the cards coming back. It's going to be Iono Prime, and that sets up the play that he wants to make, which is double Terapagos KO. He's going to rod back some energy in the process as well. Not sure if he needs another Regidrago V here. I can't imagine he's got time for that, to be honest. But he's going to put one down just to nest ball it out. No, he's gonna hold the nest ball. Just play the Iono instead. Obviously, he's drawing back into the top 3, so it didn't matter that he didn't reshuffle after the rod. And it will be, after this, just Oh, okay, so he is still looking to rebuild a Regidrago. And he is going to take the 4 prize KO with a Dragapult EX attack being copied. 3 counters onto the heavily damaged Terapagos. 200 into the active that you set up on the previous turn. And then 3 floating counters to play around with here. If he's done one on the Bibarel, it makes sense to put one on the other one as well, I suppose. I don't mind it all going on Manaphy, honestly, at this point, but looks like he's trying to set up for something. Yeah, he's going to just put more on the other Bibarel at the same time. But he has tried to set up, you know, 1 Dragapult attack next turn can win the game. But I can win if I can get another Terapagos into the active. I also have to think about now the Pokemon that I'm discarding, of course, because I have no Terra in play. So I have to discard down to 5 bench before promoting a new Pokemon. That is important sequencing. So it's just an extra Pokemon that I have to find, essentially. But we already have Terapagos. We already have Rescue Board. We have our first Bibarel draw. How close does that get us? We can put another Bouffalant down. We have Terapagos. We are at 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Yeah, we're there. We are at 160 to finish off the Regidrago. So 2 victories against the Regidrago deck. Both times I don't think Jack drew necessarily brilliantly, but you can see some of the strengths of the Terapagos there, and also the Survival Brace being quite handy. I think Bouffalant is usually the way that you're going to tank here, but in that situation we were able to make use of the A-Spec. And the next challenge for Terapagos is going to be a Turbo Roaring Moon EX deck, very similar to the Sinosuke's second place list from the World Championships. Jack has a Petrarun EX start. I once again get the Fan Rotom lead, which is pretty busted. Have a bunch of Ball Search in hand as well, though, so we are doing pretty good, all things considered, with the old Fan Rotom. You can see I've got Hoothoot, Bouffalant, Bidoof. Looks like lots of decent stuff in hand. I actually go double Bidoof here by the looks of things, because I might need a lot of Bibarel draw to get me towards Terapagos. I think that's one of the only things I'm missing right now. A Terapagos on turn 2. It means we can put down 4 colourless Pokemon. We obviously can't put down the Bouffalants, because you need a Terra Pokemon in play to be able to then unlock your Underdepths. So it can't be the 6th Pokemon that you bench. It has to be, you know, within the first 5 that you bench. Now, I do put a Survival Brace onto a Fan Rotom here. It's quite funny because it obviously safeguards like a prize from Jack, forces a Gust. But I actually think I should have prioritized this on one of my Bidoof and just let him possibly take the one. Especially because I have Rescue Board as well in the deck, which means I could have moved this Fan Rotom a little easier if Jack doesn't have the best of turns. So, the funny play of the Survival Brace might actually come back to hurt me later, which we'll have to wait and see. Jack's able to use Vessel to get rid of some Dark Energy here, and obviously Pokestopped into some good treats there. We do see a Pokemon Catcher that does flip heads, so he is pushing the Rotom out of the way, and is going to bring up one of the Hootoots. And then has a Nest Ball next up. I think he's eyeing up a Squawkabilly by the looks of things, with an Ultra Ball in hand as well. It looks like he's going to shuffle up first. Does he have any more draw power before the Squawk here? Oh, he can Sada the 1. Okay. I'm surprised he didn't... oh, I suppose, yeah, he couldn't Ultra Ball for Second Moon, because then you're just relying on the 3-card draw. So yeah, probably did have to go this way around. But it means he gets to Pal Pad before the Squawk and Seize. Obviously, Jack has the Petrarun in the active, so shouldn't be too difficult to get an attack in with the Roaring Moon. Just has to find a Dark Patch here. Doesn't look like he was able to find it, though. We'll be able to Nest Ball now, though. Cycle a bit more out the deck. Gets Radiant Greninja, so 2 more draws to maybe get towards... No Dark Energy in the hand. So we're just going to have to pass here. Oh, it's just going to bench another Petrarunt, and then it is over to me. I do have access to Nest Ball, so Terapagos can come into the mix, and it means I can start using my Noctowl as well, which means I'm probably piecing together another decent turn here. We've seen every time I've been able to go Noctowl on turn 2, it's led to a really, really strong turn, and I think I've already got access to Double Turbo. So now I can get Nest Ball Rescue Board. No, we're switching things up. Could be Tenacity. No, it's going to be Stadium plus board. There's the double turbo. There's the Bouffalant. And I think I have... Do I have Iono in hand? Yeah, we're just going to Iono for a fresh 6 here. We're at 160 right now, so we need an extra basic, and we do have Ultra Ball. That's going to get Bibarel, though. But I did get rid of a Poffin, so I am expecting to get more bench Pokemon down. Yeah, we do have another Hoothoot in hand. And we are going to Bib for 3. Looks like that was just a bunch of supporters. But I can initiate the race. And that normally means good things for us. As we know, Roaring Moon is very good at hitting 220. Otherwise, it's going to have to use Frenzied Gouging. And that's going to set up probably an easy prize for me with, like, Fan Rotom even, possibly. So we'll see how that plays out. Jack's going to Ultra Ball now. Gets rid of Catcher and Squawk, because he's probably want to go through the active anyway. Does have Sada, so can power up a couple of these ancient Pokemon. Obviously the active and also the other Mooney X. Let's see, has some Tracking Shoe in the hand. He's going to throw away a Roaring Mooney X. Then gets a Nest Ball. Has a manual attachment for the Turn to Debate as well here. Where does he want to put it? Does he want to weave in a single prizer, or is he just going to load up more EX? Yeah, that's going to be the first choice. And looks like he is just going to Frenzied Gouge to take the KO. And because he is getting rid of my only terrestrial Pokemon, I do have to get rid of some bench Pokemon here in the process. I just have to have a debate over what to remove here. I have to get rid of 2. Bouffalant probably the most obvious choice. And then it's also going to be a Bidoof. No, it's going to be a secondary Hoothoot, so I have access to both stage 1s. Alright. So with this heavily damaged Moon, I think definitely attacking with Fan Rotom has to be the right play here, right? I'm going to get a second Stadium as well as a double turbo. Here is the energy onto the Fan Rotom. There's an Alakazam as well. I'm going to throw 2 counters onto the benched Roaring Mooney X to try and deny another Frenzied Gouging from Jack. Or just make it, you know, less bench Pokemon for me to take those final couple prizes. Jack does have the single prize Roaring Moon, of course, that can hit into this Fan Rotom, but it does have Survival Brace as well, so it's just like a pain for him to get around. Probably has to spend Gust here if he wants to take a prize. The good news is he could take out Bibarel, perhaps. If he can take out Bib whilst using a Judge, maybe that puts him back into a decent spot. We do see a Pokemon catcher heads. So yeah, bring up Bibarel now. I'm pretty sure he has Pokegear in hand. If he can dig towards a Judge whilst dealing with Bibarel, this could be a pretty strong turn for him. We do see the Vessel. That's going to get rid of a Sada for a couple Darkness Energy. And is it going to be a 9-card dig towards a Judge? He can Greninja first. Yeah, going to see 2 cards. Oh, and he does get it. This is a pretty big turn for Jack now. Can Dark Patch attach to the single prize Roaring Moon. And yeah, we're going to see I'm forced down to 4 cards. My Hoothoot isn't live because Terapagos isn't in play. Jack's taking out my only Bib right now. This is one of the only things he could have done to put himself back into a good spot. He's going to play another Pokegear now, and he's going to take a Boss from that. And there is the Trekking Shoe. And we are going to see the Petrarunts poisoning the Roaring Moon. Ooh, we can even bounce the Stadium, which is nice. Another headache for me. And he's going to swing with Vengeance Fletching to take a KO. I do have an Arven, which is certainly something. We can grab Ultra Ball. And is there Bravery Charm still in the deck? Oh, it's in the hand. That was my top deck, actually, which makes things a little more awkward. But we're just going to grab a Bibarel from this. So still hoping to draw in some more stuff here to help out. Let's see, we're going to draw 3 from Bibarel. Oh, I definitely see Boss Nestball DTE. that's a lot of the cards we want to see. I'm going to Nestball out a Terapagos. Okay. And then we're going to Alakazam 1 damage off the moon. And we're just going to swing with our Fan Rotom. So we've stopped the moon from Frenzied Gouging our Terapagos EX. But Jack could still attack with Petulant. Irritated Outburst, I think it's called. The Terapagos is 230 and Jack can swing for 240. He is holding on to Patch Boss. So that's one way he could attack with a 2-prizer. Oh, he has no energy in the deck, so he has to draw towards another Dark Patch here, perhaps. He can Pokestop, look towards getting a Gust card as well, maybe. It's going to be a big 3 cards from Pokestop by the looks of things. Let's see. Well, it's 3 item cards, but they're not really the ones he was after. We know there's no energy in the deck, and we know that no real search cards help him here. So he's going to swing an energy onto Petch. He's going to boss up a Hoothoot and try and just deny some of my draw by the looks of things. Goes down to 2 prize cards. Forces me to have Gust DCE, but also a Stadium and lots of bench Pokemon. And taking out the Hoothoot, I think, is denying that. If I had access to Noctowl, which I've got in hand, I would have been able to really go wide and go crazy. So now it's going to be a Bibarel draw, I think, that I need. I can reduce the hand a lot here. I only need to get to 140, right? Because there's a Squawk that I can move 2 damage onto with Painful Spoons. I'm at 130 right now, so I have to Bibarel into Stadium, I think. Let's see the 4 cards. Do we get an Area 0? No. Pokestop, and there they are. Okay. So we were very, very close to getting the Underdepths, but now we're having to retreat. And we're going to spoon off the single prize and then poke with Rotom. And now we have to dodge Gust because Jack could be able to Petulant attack and take the final 2 on my Terapagos on the bench. He does have access to Candy, but I think we just have to find a Dark Patch, and hopefully these... well, he can Sada and still draw towards Dark Patch, because I think there's Prime Catcher still in the deck as well. I think with the draws from Sada and the shoes, he should be able to find those final few pieces. Yeah, there's going to be a Dark Patch onto the Petulant, and he does eventually draw into Prime, but he could have shooed all the way down towards the bottom of the deck to get there. So yeah, really wacky game there. I looked in a really good spot, but a really nice timed Catcher plus Judge combination put Jack right back into a decent position. So really cool games. The Moon is probably one of the trickier all basic attacking decks. In all the other matchups, you have Survival Brace, which you can put onto the Terapagos themselves, and obviously that gets around Frenzied Gouging, which is why I kind of spent it on Rotom frivolously in that game. But again, looking back, if I was able to put that Survival Brace onto one of my Bidoof, I could have secured that engine a little bit more. So that very first funny action from the start of the game came out to punish me in that one. So yeah, really interesting deck list. As we saw, the Bibarel engine wasn't really flowing beautifully. So trying to weave in Pidgeot EX possibly, trying to weave in Squovit just so you see more cards every single turn of the game is definitely reasonable. That's one of the main things we have to figure out for DT Terapagos, but you can see a lot of strengths with the archetype, I think, in this video. So let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you tomorrow for another one. Cheers.